The grand ballroom shimmered with gold and laughter. Waiters glided between marble pillars, guests clinking champagne glasses, and camera flashes capturing the billionaire's 50th birthday celebration. But in one quiet corner, a little girl sat alone, her hands folded neatly on her dress, eyes fixed on the crowd that never seemed to notice her. Maya, a young waitress working her first event, noticed her immediately. The girl couldn't be more than 9. Her expression was calm, almost practiced, like someone used to being invisible. When Maya approached with a tray of pastries, the girl didn't respond. Not even when Maya spoke softly, "Would you like one?" Then Maya saw it, hearing aids tucked behind her ears. Oh, Maya realized, she's deaf. Across the room, the billionaire father laughed among investors, oblivious to his daughter's quiet isolation. Maya felt a pang in her chest. Taking a deep breath, she set down her tray and knelt beside the girl. Then, slowly, she signed, "Hi, are you okay?" For the first time all evening, the girl's face lit up. Her eyes widened, and she signed back with trembling hands, "You know how to talk like me?" Maya smiled. Of course. Everyone deserves to be heard. Tears welled in the girl's eyes as she signed quickly, words tumbling out like a long-silenced song. For the first time, someone wasn't ignoring her. And in that crowded ballroom, 2 silent souls began the loudest conversation of the night. Maya stayed beside the little girl, her hands moving gracefully as they signed back and forth. The girl's name was Ella, and she couldn't stop smiling. For months, she said, people treated her like she didn't exist, teachers, nannies, even her father's guests. Everyone assumed that because she couldn't hear, she couldn't understand. As Maya listened with her heart and eyes, she forgot she was just a waitress. Around them, the room still buzzed with laughter and business talk. No one noticed the quiet miracle happening in the corner, until one man finally did. It was Ella's father, the billionaire himself, Richard Hayes. He froze mid-sentence when he saw his daughter laughing silently, her hands flying through the air. His expression changed from confusion to shock, then something deeper. Guilt. He walked toward them, the crowd parting instinctively. Ella didn't notice until his shadow fell over her. She turned and smiled nervously. Richard's eyes softened, he hadn't seen her this happy in years. "Mr. Hayes," Maya said, standing quickly. "I'm sorry, I just..." He raised a hand gently. "No, please. Don't apologize." He looked between them, his voice quieter now. "You were talking to her?" Maya nodded. "Through sign language. She's a wonderful communicator, she just needs someone to listen." For a moment, Richard couldn't speak. He blinked back unexpected tears. The weight of all the missed moments with his daughter pressed on him like stone. Then, softly, he said, "Can you teach me? Please. I want to talk to her, too." Maya smiled. "Of course. We can start right now." And as the music played on, a billionaire and his daughter shared their first true conversation, without a single word spoken aloud. Over the next few weeks, Maya began visiting the Hayes mansion every evening after her cafe shift. What started as one kind gesture turned into a quiet routine filled with laughter, drawings, and flying hands. Ella adored her lessons. She taught her father how to sign, "Good morning, I love you," and even, "You're my hero." Every time he got it wrong, she giggled, and Richard laughed too, a sound that had been missing from the house for far too long. For Maya, it was surreal. She wasn't from wealth or privilege. She'd grown up in a small apartment, raised by her grandmother, who had been deaf her whole life. That's where Maya learned sign language, not as a skill, but as love. One evening, as they sat in the garden surrounded by golden sunset light, Richard looked at her and said quietly, "You know, Maya, I've built empires, but I never learned to connect. You gave me back my daughter." Maya smiled. All she ever needed was someone to listen in her own language. He nodded, eyes misty. You've done more than any tutor, any doctor, or any therapist ever could. How can I thank you? Just keep talking to her, Maya said softly. That's all she ever wanted. Ella ran over then, signing quickly, Dad, can we show her the surprise? Richard grinned and took Maya's hand. Come on. You've earned it. He led her into his art studio, walls covered with paintings Ella had made. In the center, one stood out, a beautiful portrait of Maya, signing the word friend. Maya's eyes filled with tears. For her, it was more valuable than any fortune. A month later, everything changed. It started when Richard posted a short video online, a quiet moment between Maya and Ella signing, I love you, to each other in the garden. He wrote, the woman who taught me how to hear my daughter's heart, without a single word. No fancy filters, no music, just pure emotion. Within hours, the video spread across social media like wildfire. Millions watched in silence as the billionaire and his deaf daughter finally connected. Comment sections overflowed with tears and gratitude. People wanted to know, who was the young woman who made it happen? Reporters began calling the mansion. News anchors spoke about empathy, inclusion, and the power of communication. Hashtags like #SignOfLove and #KindnessSpeaks started trending. Maya was overwhelmed. She'd never wanted fame, just kindness. But one afternoon, Richard called her to the study. Maya, he said, smiling warmly, the world's watching, and I think you can change it. He handed her a folder, a proposal for a foundation. The Hear Her Foundation, dedicated to teaching sign language in schools and providing education for children with hearing impairments. Tears filled Maya's eyes as she whispered, You want me to lead it? Richard nodded. It was your idea before it was mine. Ella burst into the room then, running into Maya's arms. She signed excitedly, You're famous. Everyone knows you helped me. Maya laughed, hugging her tightly. No, sweetheart. Everyone just knows what love looks like now. Outside, cameras flashed. Inside, a simple truth echoed, sometimes, the smallest act of compassion can speak louder than the world itself. A year later, the grand ballroom looked different. Gone were the business deals and empty laughter. Tonight, it was filled with families, teachers, and children using their hands to speak a shared language of love. It was the first gala of the Hear Her Foundation. Maya stood on stage beside Ella and Richard, her heart full. Around the room, banners read, Every voice deserves to be heard. When Richard stepped up to the microphone, the crowd fell silent. A year ago, he began, his voice trembling slightly, My daughter lived in silence, not because she couldn't speak, but because I never learned to listen. One woman changed that. He turned toward Maya. She didn't just teach us sign language. She taught us love. Applause thundered through the hall, but Maya's eyes were on Ella, who was proudly signing every word her father spoke to the audience. When it was Maya's turn, she signed and spoke together, Kindness doesn't need sound. It only needs heart. If you see someone left out, don't turn away, reach out. Even silence has a voice if you're willing to listen. The room erupted in emotion. Cameras flashed, parents hugged their children, and for once, no one felt invisible. As the event ended, Ella tugged at Maya's sleeve and signed softly, You changed my life. Maya knelt, tears in her eyes. No, sweetheart, she signed back. You changed mine. They embraced as Richard watched with pride, knowing he'd been given a second chance, not just as a father, but as a man who finally learned the most important language of all. The language of the heart.